Good morning, Marvel Rival nerds. You already know what we're getting into today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more statistical tier lists, and let's get started. Just as a reminder, this list is based off pick rates and win rates from the Hero Hot List. So starting with the S tier, no surprise, we have Gambit in the number 1 spot, followed by Penny, Rocket, Mag, and Invis. I've been playing a lot more Rivals this season than most others, and Gambit has added so much life to the game. He really can do it all. Combine Gambit's release with half of the roster being buffed makes for an amazing season for all. Now Penny has become a defensive hub for all ranks and a menace with the added healing and speed boost that she applies to her team. Obviously, Rocket is also benefiting from his team up with Penny, keeping him in the S tier, while Mag and his new team up finally has low ranked players playing the best tank in the game. If you don't believe me, I put together the historical rank of each character for both high and low ranked gameplay. Looking at the graph, we can see how Mag has been consistently S tier in the high ranks, while we see him spike from B tier to S tier for the low ranked players. Moving on to the A tier, Magic finds herself leading the way with over a 55% win rate in almost every rank. If I'm being honest, Emma feels way too low. Then, we have Angela and Daredevil Specialists making their win rate skyrocket. And finally, Strange. Angela and Daredevil have been my picks for bans this season, and I feel validated after seeing how dominant they've been. Emma is as dominant as ever. For me, she's all reliable, but she's still seeing a ton of bans, and I don't think the small HP nerf is going to change anything. The only thing that will honestly bring her down, if anything at all, will be the introduction of Rogue. This will inevitably drop Emma's usage rate. The B and C tiers are much larger, so I won't be able to talk about everyone. The B tier has characters from every niche, and honestly, shows the viability of this wide range character pool. The first character of note is Cloak and Dagger, as they've taken a huge backseat these past couple of seasons, but she's finally fell from her throne in the low ranked play. She's always been an S tier character for the low ranked players, but now she's finally dropped to A tier. She also has the largest gap between high and low ranked play, showing she's probably not the best pick, but often just a comfort pick for those at the lower ranks. Psylocke has been a staple in the pros and in high level play, but she's finally receiving the nerf that she deserves, and she'll have her ultimate much less often. Lastly, lower ranked players haven't caught on to how good Groot really is. Looking at the graph, we see high ranked performance creeping up to the A tier, and I'm sure low ranked players will eventually figure this out and follow suit. The C tier is also a mixed bag of high skill characters, each one being brought down by either a lack of performance at the lower ranks or a lack of value at the higher ranks. For example, Venom and Cap are insane in the higher ranked play, but are brought down by low ranked players not having as much success on them. Inversely, characters like Hawkeye and BP dominate in the low ranks, but they are much more easily countered the higher you go. With that said, they all settle nicely in the C tier. Now, when the tiers are organized like this, we can see that all the buffs, with the exception of Thor, were for characters in the C tier and below, while all the nerfs were for the B tier and above characters. The first of those buffs we see here was the Wolf alt change. The ability to slam people into walls just makes sense. This was a much needed quality of life change and apparently helps out with a ton of bugs. As always, the D tier is the smallest with only 4 heroes: Iron Man, Phoenix, Loki, and Namor. For those who know, I called the Loki buffs from last season underrated, and I knew the higher ranked players would take advantage way before the low ranked players recognized. We can see a jump on the graph for the high ranked players, just as expected. Namor has been on a downward spiral, and I thought that the Hela team up would pick him up a bit, but he seems to be performing under expectations across all ranks right now. The Phoenix buffs were questioned by the top players, as she's pretty good for those who are mechanically gifted. Overall, her performance has not met the perception. I don't think the buff will make that big of a change, but we'll see if this helps with her statistical performance in the future. And I don't really have any words for Iron Man, as he's just the flying squirrel girl at this point. And with that, we'll move on. Finally, we've reached the F tier, where 7 out of the 10 characters are receiving buffs for the upcoming season. The Thing, Blade, and Punisher all got more flat damage boosts to help them out in the season to come. They also made Wanda's kit have a bit more impact overall, while making Torch way more consistent with the spread improvement. Then we have Ultron, who might go from F tier to A tier in one season. And of course, Luna, who isn't allowed to be bad for more than 1 month, I guess. She's getting some nice buffs to bring her slightly back into the meta. All these characters mentioned have missed the mark in Season 5, but I bet we'll see some comebacks for a large number of them. That leaves only 3 characters in the F tier: Widow, Squirrel Girl, and Atom. And to that, I say, someone has to be bad, right? Maybe they'll get some buffs in the seasons to come. That covers all the characters from the Season 5 roster. So now it's time for me to speculate where Rogue will land for the upcoming season. From what I've seen, and the small amount that I've been able to play, she seems like a fun character with a lot in her kit to play with. I'm sure her pick rate will be through the roof for this first month, but with all the CC and long range options we have in the game, I'm going to say she will severely underperform, landing her in the low B tier at best. But I'm going to put her in the C tier just to be safe. With all that said, thank you so much for watching. This has been Judgment Monk with the Season 5 Statistical Recap. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as more Rivals content is sure to come.